high containment biological labs. In this session, we will talk about the global expansion of high containment biological labs, as well as we will talk about the biosecurity challenges regarding these labs. Now, before going into the detail, let's talk about the history regarding high containment biological labs. Let's start from the late 1800s when scientists began to isolate, culture and study microorganisms. They not only study microorganisms morphologically but also ecologically, biochemically and even serologically. But what they found that lab workers started suffering from infectious diseases, for example, cholera, typhoid. Then scientists start taking adopting those practices that reduce the occupational exposure. They improve their lab practices that can act as a primary barrier against the spreading of infectious diseases. Now, lab workers can, there are different routes by which the lab workers can ingest microorganisms. These routes are inhalation, that is, they inhale the aerosols of the infectious agents, ingestion, that they have ingested the infectious agents present in the food. There can be parenteral inoculation of infectious agents, or there can be direct contact of skin with the infectious agent, direct contact of an eye with infectious agent, or there can be even direct contact of mucosal membrane with the infectious agent in case of wounds or injuries. Now they make improvements in the microbiological lab practices. They adopted good microbiological lab practices. They trained their trainees and they adopted personal protective equipment, which includes lab coats, gloves, eyewear protectives, and even respirators if they are dealing in a lab of biosafety level 4. Then biosafety cabinets were designed, and now they are of 3 types which are available in the market: biosafety cabinet 1, 2 and 3. Now keep in mind that laboratories are also acting as a secondary barrier for the community. They prevent the spread of infectious agents from the lab to the community present around them. This can occur by adopting good methods of sterilization or of disinfection. Sterilization के लिए usually high containment laboratories autoclaving का method use करती हैं या incinerators का. इसके अलावा there is a list of disinfectants that are used in high containment labs in routine practices. Now, number of organizations are involved in standardizing biosafety at national or institutional or even national level. For example, United States National Institute of Health, they collaborated with World Health Organization to categorize pathogens into 4 groups, that is risk group 1, 2, 3 and 4. इन risk groups को हम पहले से पढ़ चुके हैं. यहाँ पे हमने pathogens को 4 groups में divide किया according to their route of transmission, route of inhalation, ingestion, parenteral inoculation or through direct contact. Then we talk about their spread, about their pathogenicity. Then we divide pathogens on the basis of their treatment, that whether vaccines or therapeutic agents are present against them or not. Then we have also talked about the biosafety levels. According to BMBL, biosafety levels are of 4 types: biosafety level 1, 2, 3 and 4. As biosafety level 1 causes no or insignificant community risk, biosafety level 2 causes low community risk, biosafety level 3 causes high community risk, and you can appreciate in this diagram that biosafety level 4 is represented in red zone as it has high or extremely high community risk.